Welcome back to the Family Readiness Project. This is podcast episode 4. Thank you for being here. Topic this week, we'll get to that in a second. I've got a little bit of housekeeping to do and bit of an apology. I had an advising partner early on in this endeavor that I just made an emphatic correction with. They were really pushing me to, it's like, man, you got to get monetized as fast as possible. And that's not me. And the reason that's not me is because I am one of you, and people like us don't do things like that. I know a guy in the online world named Chris Brogan, and he's got a phrase that's really funny, but it's true. And he's like, don't be selly. I agree. I hate selly. And it's the last thing I wanted to do. And I think I've turned off quite a few of you because I keep pushing this course that we're building. And we are building it, but I'm not going to sell it to you. I want to help you. I want you to walk away with something palpable and tangible that can actually make a difference. And you have no reason to buy anything from me because you don't know me. And that's valid. And that's how I operate. If I don't know you and if I don't trust you, I'm not doing jack with you, for you, or from you. That's basically how it is in my house and in my mind. So why would I do that to you? So I shut that down pretty hard. And let me be real clear. Will I build stuff to sell you guys someday? I will, because you know what? It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to do things. And that's okay, but it's not today. All right. So I wanted to clear the air with that because it's not the point. The point is not to make a fast buck from those whose attention I happen to have, because I need your help. I can't do this without you. I've said that. I think I've said that on every episode, on everything I've ever written. And it's a fact. I cannot do this without you. And I don't want to, because other families are the point. Why? Because I want my family to grow up in a world. I want my kids to grow up in a world where other kids were raised by families who are very like-minded. And that's important, because if we're just complacent about what we do with our kids, then what does it matter what we aspire to? And I want to make a difference. And you want to make a difference. Most people listening to me homeschool their kids. And even if you guys don't, you want better for your children than what culture's giving us. Wanted to clear the air. I'd be really honored to hear from you. I seriously would. And let me be straight. If I'm doing stuff that you guys don't resonate with and don't like, feel free to unsubscribe. And I don't want to lose people. I don't want to offend people. But I'm also not here for everybody. And I want to respect your time and what you take the time to listen to and watch. There, air cleared. I have a kid knocking at my door while I'm recording. Real life. Real life happens. I'm ignoring it because they're not screaming, and that means they're okay. All right, today's episode it's part of the 7 pillars. And by the way, I'm going to do a really good PDF of the 7 pillars because I like it enough where I want to print it out and see it all the time. And a few of you have said the same, so it's going to happen. So today's episode is about family systems, how to build a home that runs on purpose and not chaos. My mindset is family redemption happens at home, okay? It doesn't happen when you send them out the door. It doesn't happen when you go to work. It doesn't happen when you're hanging out with your people, even though that is a part of it for sure. But redemption happens at home. How your family, how your kids turn out, how you present yourself, and who you become happens at home. Too many people are reactive, okay? And listen, if you're not happy with where you are or your children are, if you're not happy where you are as a man or woman or parent, and if you're not completely pleased with the direction of your home and your kids, requires growth. Growth takes place during change, and change is hard. Change is hard, like lifting weights. Change is hard. Strapping on your shoes to go for a run is hard. Getting ready for a difficult task is hard, especially when you know you must do it. Okay? But you know what's harder? Not changing. Not changing is fundamentally and forever harder because not changing is tied to regret. Nobody likes that. We're not going to be a regretful people. I love quotes. You're going to hear more of them. Here's the first. We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Okay? Actions can be singular. That's why I think that's a basketball or football coach. I'm not a ball guy, so forgive me. But I like a lot of their quotes. They're pretty good. Actions can be singular. Actions, you can have a single one-off action or a good day in your life that has no bearing on anything else. Okay? And I'm not looking for unicorns. I'm looking for something that is perpetual. We're going to talk about habits and systems. And I'm not talking about being rote or militant or hard. Nobody, and some homes are like that. Some of the homes have one or two parents that are really hard. And man, if that's you and you recognize that, please take a chill pill and talk to some friends who love you and will tell you the truth, okay? Because we don't want to set our systems and homes up into a place where it's a dread and a drudgery to even be there. No, we want to set things up where we're not reactive to the things of the world. We're not reactive to our career and our job and the things that happen and the things that are coming up. I mean, Dave Ramsey analogy, it's funny because he's right. He's like, people act like the holidays are a surprise every single year. It's like, I didn't know that was coming. It's like, same time every year, every single year. And that's what I'm talking about. There are things that happen regularly in life. Are there things that truly happen that can come out of left field? Yes, but you can also set systems in place where those quote unquote surprises don't harm you and don't tea kettle and send your world off kilter to the point where it affects everything in your life for a while. Okay? Chaos is the enemy of spiritual leadership. Chaos is the enemy of a family and a home. And I'll tell you what, kids, your children need rhythm. Families and people in general do very, very well with ritual, with habit. Do we want everything to be ritual and habit? No, we don't, because we also need to be resilient. We need to be a proactive people who can handle things because things do happen. Outside influences and even some internal things can affect and will and do affect the natural rhythms of life. Not everything is meant to be, precise. And if it was like that, life would suck. It just would. It would be boring and kind of a misery and a drudgery. So, a little bit of spice to like get sweat on your upper lip and your forehead. That's good. Let life be a bit spicy, but you don't have to cry every time you eat it. Okay? Systems, the principle of having systems is because systems don't restrict you, they empower you. They give you a foundation where you can actually be much more nimble, where you can be very proactive, where you can grow. So family systems is a big thing. Even in my house, yes, of course in my house. Are we perfect? Oh Lord, no. We're crazy from time to time, but it's a good crazy. It's fun. and I recommend it. But having systems is important. We'll get through these things. So all these things are connected to the 7 pillars that we talked about last episode. Go listen to it. Systems. Again, this is not a list. It's like, oh God, we got to get through all of these things. We've got to implement 100% of it today. No, you will fail. It will be sad and miserable time for everyone involved, including you. So just hear me out first, and we'll talk about how to implement on the back end of this. 7 family systems to begin with and focus on. All of these can be malleable and adjusted and changed for your family. These are principles, not edicts from on high. The family weekly meeting is what I put for number 1, because again, it sets a standard and a principle for taking charge instead of reacting. So have a time every week where you actually sit down as a family, age appropriate. Your toddlers probably don't care, but it's good for you to involve them because they see that we're a family that does things like this, and kids pick up on every single thing we do. So it is a good thing to involve your children and not just shove them over off in a room to play when the family meeting comes about. Involve everyone. And if you have a wee baby, which is super squishy and cute, hold it in your arms while you're having the meeting, because it's all hands on deck, people. Right. You're building, again, you're a family. The world doesn't want you to be a family, so be a family, right? You want your kids to grow up seeing this is what families do. This is what mothers and fathers do. Why? Because they love us. They want the best for us. They want good things for us. This teaches them regular rhythm and in their weekly life and communication on what's coming up. We don't not talk about things in our family. We face things, okay? Pick a night. I like Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, whatever, because Sunday is usually the day, it's first day of a week on a calendar, or on the good calendars. Let's not change calendars where Monday is number 1, because that's not what God did. All right. Sunday afternoons where we prep for the week. Yes, a lot of people, your weekend is you're winding down. It's like the day before work, blah, blah, blah. Redeem the day. Okay. God gave us this day. Let's redeem it. So plan on Sunday. That's a good habit, okay? And what do you do in this family meeting? I like prayer, okay? Prayer is always good. We should probably pray over our wife and our children and allow them to pray for us. Make it a habit. That's nice. A calendar review. Oh, things come up and many times we know of them. I can't count how many times I've heard friends of ours, it's like, oh, my kid has a book report and it's due tomorrow and the world had to stop and dinner was ruined and we're all grumpy. It's like, well, I get that. Things can take place like that, but if it is a habit, if it's the normal, and again, it's a reaction, right? I didn't know about this book report. Oh, I forgot about the book report because we didn't talk about it, right? Well, let's talk about things. What do we have coming up? Let's review your school. A lot of homeschoolers, you know what's going on because it's your world, okay, and your kids are in it. But the rest of the people out there who send your kids off to compulsory education, I'm going to hammer on this. You are responsible, number 1, not the teacher, not the school administrator. No, you are number 1 responsible for your child's education. Redeem that emphatically, okay? It's yours to guide and focus on and know about and be proactive with. Okay, what are they studying? What are they talking about? What tests are coming up? Yes, that's a thing. What projects are coming up? Those are the big ones. They're important. But be proactive about that. If your kid's into music or sports, there's a calendar for that, right? Wednesdays for us is music day. It's lesson day. That's what we do. Every bloody day of the week is music day in our house because we encourage that. We want our home to be full of music and joy and laughter and singing. And therefore, we make it a priority. But Wednesdays, our lesson day. Okay, that's a single point example in our house. What's coming up as a family? When are we being visited? Play dates, work responsibilities are a big one. Social things, all the things fall into this. Okay. And a lot of people, some people use their calendars for work. Other people don't look at a calendar ever. We don't worship the calendar, but the calendar is important because it allows us all to know what's going on. Here's what we do. You do you. We have a full year calendar, all 12 months. It's a gigantic vertical and it's hanging on a wall of our home. And it's laminated, so you can use dry erase markers and you can wipe it off and you can redo it. So my wife gleefully every single year wipes the whole thing down and resets the year because she likes doing that. And then when things come up and we talk about them, we put them on the big calendar. And our kids have gotten in the habit of running in to see what's going on this week. What do we have coming up? When's the family coming out? And we put things on the calendar. We change the calendar because work schedules change, things change, life changes. We have to be malleable. But that big calendar keeps us not completely, but it does keep us from being reactive. Like, oh God, I didn't know what was going on. And I will tell you what, I'm the one of the adults who's more guilty of saying, I didn't know that. And my wife looks at me and she's like, it was on the calendar. She's right. It is on the calendar. So it's on me not to walk by and look at the calendar more often. But it also keeps me from being grumpy about it because you know what? It's our calendar and I should probably look at it more. So it's showing you guys we're not perfect. We put these things into practice. We try to make them a habit. It's an imperfect but good habit. It keeps the world and hair on fire at bay, more or less. Okay, so principles. The weekly family meeting. I hammered on the calendar pretty well, but it's also a time for to check in. Family values, are those being followed in our home, including you, mom and dad? Are you leading your family values well and your personal family ethos, or is there some conversation and correction needed? Scripture. Do you guys have a weekly family verse? This is a great time to do that. Check-ins. Check-ins are great. What happens? What's coming up? Are we doing things with the right people? Or should we have a conversation about, personalities and things outside, well, internally in your home or even outside your home? Principles to think on, okay? Number 2, device zones and tech hours. Okay, your kids should never, ever, I don't care if they're, I'm going to say 30, but 18 is legal, right? If the kids in your house, they have zero business taking a device in their room alone and shutting the door. Because here's the facts. If you want to guarantee your kid sees porn and starts looking at things that are absolutely wrong and inappropriate, give them an internet connection that nobody checks on. It's what's going to happen every single time. Heavy drop there. The principle is what we allow is what we approve, moms and dads. This is on us. And again, I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to be megalomaniac. No devices for anyone, even though, hey, that might be appropriate at certain times. But my ethos, my thought process is we live in a world that is driven by devices. Holding up my device, it's here with me. It's how I'm controlling this camera that's in front of me. Kind of cool. That I can do that. So devices Are they useful? Yes, they are useful. Let's put them in their place. They're a tool. They're a tool that can be used for both good and for bad. So let's talk about these tools, devices. I have a digital, I just talked about this. I am developing the digital discernment course. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Okay, but that's why we're having family systems to deal with these things. 0 phones in bedrooms or bathrooms. If you have a screen on, if a kid has a screen on, they need to be sitting where? Oh, by you. Exactly right beside you. Okay, it's that important. All right. Because you don't want them off in the corner, snuggled up in the edge of the couch where you can't see what's on their screen. And I've talked about this before, even on the educational games that kids have, those are free because they have ads. And those ads, using that little facial recognition on the device, can see a child's face, and different ads will and do appear in front of your children than will appear in front of you. This has been tested. It is verdad. It is true. Pick a time to have a all screens off time. Here's what I'm going to say. Their screens should be finite and limited in your home. Should they be shunned and done away with? I'm going to say no, because when I've seen this happen, there's stories. We know people who have absolutely restricted and had 0 screens for their kids no matter what in life. And therefore, it becomes something that, well, I wasn't allowed to do it. And so, improperly viewed, I know people whose children had 0 access to a device. And when they got to legal age and the parents couldn't do anything about it, they got a device and they lost their minds on there. I mean, literally, they got heavily into porn. They got into very inappropriate stuff. They started it consumed them. Okay. And when we don't want to turn an object into something that will consume a grown child later, we want to put it in its proper place and show them and teach them as time goes on its appropriate use, and also understand its dangers, its warning signals, what is not right, good, and true. And this is for you to do. This is for you to do for yourselves too. You need to be practicing this in your homes, because I know of too many moms and dads who are stuck and glued to the device more than anyone. Okay. Have a screens off completely time in your home. That's a good thing. A shared charging station so you can keep track of the devices in your home. I don't like too many things in general, but if you have multiples, and our home has multiples, we have a couple laptops. I have a big computer that's on my desk. That's an easy one to control. My wife and I each have a phone. We have a tablet. They're not all used constantly, but they are used, so know where they are. A lot more of that on, I think, a previous article I wrote went into this deep dive pretty hard. And episode 1, we covered a lot of these things in a lot more detail on the digital world and devices. Okay, principle and system 3 to think about and consider. Food, dinner time, lunchtime, whenever you're together for a meal. Again, the device things, phones down, eyes up, all right? You don't need to just sit there and be checking email, listening to every ding. And even if the phone rings, oh gosh, you, you can check who called and call them back. We have that ability. Set limits to what's going on. Dinner time should be a time where we talk, we enjoy food. Okay, here's the thing. We're a major food family. We cook all the time because food is a joy. It's not something to be relished and to take your time with. I know not everybody thinks this way, and yes, sometimes we have to rush through, grab a meal, and go, go, go. But that should not be the norm, all right? Meal time is a good slow down and pause and connection time. Everybody needs to eat, and everybody should like to eat. We should all like to eat together. That's good. That's why we cook. We cook, we try to improve. We cook with our kids. They're really into it. It gives them a skill set that will carry them through the rest of their life and be something to be enjoyed. Good discussions happen at mealtime. Like what happened? Who said what? Uh, um, Theological debates can happen at mealtime. Spiritual questions, mom and dad, kids will ask you anything. If you're a parent for more than like 2 years, you know this. Kids will ask you anything, and it's good. They should be asking you anything and everything. So don't just brush it off at mealtime. Have a response. Tell them I need to find out about that if you truly don't know. Don't make stuff up. That's bad. That's hypocritical and it's lazy. Okay. Kids also need to see it's like mom and dad don't necessarily know everything, even though mine think I do. No, they don't. I'm joking. It was a joke. I'm serious. Um, and I tell them all the time, I don't know. Let's find out. That is good, true, and appropriate. I'm focusing on mealtime because lots happens at mealtime. Good things happen at mealtime. We teach grace with one another at mealtime. Okay, arguments happen at the dinner table, right? And grace needs to be emulated and taught and focused on. What is appropriate, what is good, true, and beautiful can be taught at mealtime. Okay. Teach your kids that we pray for one another and from one another. Make it a habit of rotating through prayer from time to time. I am setting out just ideas, thoughts, and principles for you guys. Again, these are systems to implement. The reason I'm saying this, including in Christian homes, most families only eat dinner together like one night a week, if that. It's it's egregious, okay? Yeah, can we eat every single meal together? No, but we can do a lot more, okay? All right, system 4, chores. Work. Work is good, work is necessary for life, and work should be um, shared with your entire home. I'm probably going to make some people mad. Don't care. You moms and dads who do everything for your children are harming them fundamentally. You are stealing them the the ability to learn how to do for themselves and to be a good functioning adult and parent someday themselves. Shame on you. Knock it off. Kids must have responsibility, even at very young ages. I'll give you a dinner table example or a lunch table example. You know what toddlers they can do? They can pick their bowl and their fork and spoon up and take it over to the sink. They can even get a stool. They love doing it. Kids love doing things. They can get up on a stool and they can rinse something off before you do officially wash it or whatever. Kids can grab a broom, and if they make a mess, all right, I'm talking about working with our kids, so I need to cover this real quick. Forgive me for being ADD in my conversations, but you know what? I am. Kids doing things and working with you will slow you down. That's how God made us to be. We must not be focused on, I can do this faster, I am better than my children at doing it, and I am far more efficient. Well, no kidding. You're the grown-up. You should be. But if you don't slow down and take the time and allow them to grab a little broom, yes, we buy brooms for our kids and allow them to sweep. And you know what? They sweep things everywhere. It's insanity sometimes when they're really small. But you know what they do? They do it and they see you doing it, and you will sweep up after them when they make a catastrophic mess. And as they grow and as they learn, they will become better. And then someday they will surprise you by grabbing a broom without you asking them to, and they'll move chairs out of the way and they will sweep the floor, and it will be a well done job. And that's such a win for you, for them, their future, for life, for our culture. Man, it's all good stuff. You're leading your family by working with them, by teaching them these things. I only covered two: washing dishes and sweeping a floor. Don't live in a messy home. Order is good. Perfection? I don't know about living in a perfect home. I had a friend growing up and going over to their house. If those beds were made, and their beds were always made, and you went in their room to play, you could not lean on, look at, or think about touching their bed, because their mom would come out of the closet or wherever she was hiding and watching you and yell at you. Don't do that, okay? No, I don't want just, I also don't want things to be disrespected and things that are clean and orderly, and just allow everything to be, oh, you can mess that up, who cares? Some things, yes. Some things, no. This is your house, figure it out. But an orderly home is a good home. But a perfect home, we don't live in a perfect home. There's 6 of us in our home, okay? Some mess is good mess because it shows that people live there and life happens, okay? I cook, I make messes, I make biscuits, flour gets everywhere, thus saith the Lord. All right, moving on. Have a weekly responsibility, have a daily responsibility, morning chores, evening chores. Should all life be work? No. Should life include work? Yes, because it does. Absolutely. Okay. Make it age appropriate, sure, but don't think, oh, my kids just can't do that. All right. I'll give you an example, and I will try to refrain from cultural jokes. The French, in general, allow their children to begin learning knife skills appropriately at age 3. What do I mean by that? Actually, taking a sharp knife and chopping up vegetables and fruit. They let their kids learn how to properly hold a knife, properly hold something they're cutting up, and cut it safely at 3. 3. Man, I know moms and dads that would lose their mind over that. I know moms and dads that won't let their 12-year-olds touch a knife. That's ridiculous. Okay? Um, it's probably somewhere in between for most people. I'm all for early adoption though, and if it's appropriate, it's appropriate. You know what? God made Band-Aids because fingers do get cut. Do I want your kid to lose a finger or an eye? No, may it never be, but let a kid cut something for Pete's sake. All right. Age appropriate. Everyone works. Don't have favorites. Do not do that. That's bad. And attach privileges to responsibilities. I was raised in a home where we had to work a lot, and it was hard work, and we didn't have a lot of reward to that work. So, and I'm not disparaging my mom and dad. I love them. They have passed on already, but I'm just giving you a for example, okay? The wonderful and great farmer Joel Salatin talks about growing up on his farm, and farmers work hard. And his dad would give he and his brother a task, not a time task, a production task, right? And so what does that mean? He'd be talking about, like, we're picking beans, and like, you're going to pick this row of beans. And when you get, whatever amount of rows of beans done, you and your brother can go jump in the pond and cool off for 20 minutes. Action, responsibility, reward. Man, crazy how that works. So they would learn efficiency, they would learn speed, they would learn task-oriented work, which is good. That's what you want. Because work that's associated with time is inefficient and lazy at its fundamental outset, okay? People will take the amount of time allotted in whatever task they have, they will absolutely fill that amount of time with the task. So if it's truly a 10 to 15 minute task, but you've given them an hour to do it, they'll take the whole bloody hour to get it done. You're teaching your kids to be lazy by doing this. And if you do this, you're lazy. Don't do it. All right, risk reward. Okay, work is good. Work is not life. We shouldn't just dogmatically work forever. Not saying that. But have a risk reward system, okay? Not everything needs to be a toy. right? It can be a treat. It can be a whatever. Okay. Figure it out. It's your house. Moving on. Chores, work, and responsibility. And now we're going to talk about a weekly system of pause, okay? Because this is a faith-based movement and channel and podcast, and wherever you're listening or watching this, we don't hide from our faith. We embrace it. And I'll tell you what, reading the Bible changed my life and my wife's, because there's a big difference between what people say is in the Bible and what's actually in the Bible. You can read it. You can read it for yourself. And what I'm going to get to here is a weekly rest, or using biblical terms for biblical things, a weekly Sabbath. I will not shy away from biblical terms and biblical things. I will proclaim them and embrace them. Am I going to be dogmatic and beat you over the head with it? Not all the time, but sometimes. Not today. But a weekly Sabbath is important. God created us. God has rhythms. The world has rhythms. Life has rhythms. Our home should have rhythms. And a weekly Sabbath rest is biblical. So we practice a weekly Sabbath. So what do? It comes from the Bible. So we choose to worship on the Sabbath, okay? You and your family should be worshiping. So do it, all right? Therefore, the Sabbath should not be just like every other day with a bit of church thrown in. I'm saying that because that's how most people treat it. Other things happen on the Sabbath. There's sports events, there's work events, there's all kinds of events, okay? No. Have a day of pause, all right? I'm telling you what we do. It's your home. You do what you want. Phones off on Shabbat, on the Sabbath. Reconnect or connect with your family. Make it a day of worship. This is a day where we sing praises. We pray over people. We fellowship with, our fellowship, the people in our life who think and walk and worship like we do. That's very important, okay? We rest together. We take walks. We enjoy outside in nature. We don't just turn it into another day of the week where we don't do grocery shopping on it. We don't do errands. We don't do busy work. No, we pause. It's our family. It's a day that we dedicate and we worship God. Have a weekly Sabbath. Enough said. It's your home. You do you. But read the Bible and learn. System 6. Okay, the daily rituals are important. Okay, so we have talked about like looking at a calendar and stuff, but how we start the day and how we end the day. Bookends. Bookends are really, really a good habit to practice. They don't need to be arduous or difficult or super detailed. No, but have a morning launch ritual and a closing of the day ritual. Morning launch, you can have, again, prayers, blessings over your children, breakfast together. Meals are good and important, okay? Your scripture reading or your scripture memorization can be during this time, whatever. Have something like that. And a mindset builder, okay? We should act certain ways as a family. Have expectations of how we act, okay? In our house, whining is a no, and complaining it's almost a never. We don't allow it. Should we bring things up that are of concern? Yeah, we do. But making a habit of complaining and whining, oh my gosh, don't do that. Please redeem your home. Closing of the day is as important and sometimes even a little bit more important than beginning a day. Probably not. Beginning a day should set the tone for the day, and that is why we do it. You review your calendar, what's coming up for the day. But this is where we get to the pedal of the metal time. Because closing out the day, we review what happened to the day. I learned this from a good friend of mine, and he talks about with his kids and his wife, wins, losses, and what was hard. Okay, wins. Those are always good to recognize and acknowledge, not just for yourself, but from each other. Okay, because it's good to give accolades. Man, like you did a good job. That was a good thing. How you spoke to this person, that went well. Those are all wins. Okay, just examples. Losses. What happened that did not go well? Somebody got hurt. That is a thing. Somebody messed up on something. Whatever. It can be outside things coming in the house. Those do happen. We can use this time to talk about that. All right. Check your calendar and what's coming up for the next day for the rest of the week. Okay. Therefore, tomorrow's not a surprise necessarily. All right. We can be proactive about things. It's like, well, we have this to prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing this. Therefore, it's in everybody's minds what is coming. Goal setting, we'll get to that, but you can talk about your goals at the end of the day. I also recommend talking about them at the beginning of the day because you should be working on your goals habitually. All right. Close out the day with prayer and love one another. The end of the day is story time and more music time and just, it's time as a family. It's definitely connection time in our house. I hope that it becomes that in your home. And family system number 7 is your family mission. All right. This is a big 10,000 foot thing. So I started things off small and we're building up to the bigger things because this is how you affect things long-term and generationally, okay? Your family's identity and long-term resilience. This should be something that, again, you don't want to be haphazard with, and you can make a plan for. I mean, corporations and businesses do it. Why not your family? Is your family a corporation or business? Did I say that? No, I didn't. But having a family that has hopes and dreams and that we talk about those things and we set plans in place for them, is that good? Yes. Yes, it is good. So let's do that. What is a family motto? Our family has a few, and I'll tell you one of ours. Our last name is Sigmund, and I ask our kids, and we say this probably every week. We say we're Sigmunds, and they say we're Sigmunds. They don't say it like that, but sometimes they do. And I ask them, what are we known for? The question is, what do Sigmunds do? And the answer is, and our kids know it. They say, we're Sigmunds. We do hard things because other people can't. Am I talking down about other people? No, my kids know this because I've explained it in detail to them. So we're talking about a phrase that has larger meaning in your life. We're a family of service. I am law enforcement. I'm a protector. I'm a teacher. My wife is a medical professional. We have lived a life of service. We do things and we do hard things because not everybody is wired or built to do what we can do. There's people out there who can do things that I am absolutely not made to do, and thank God for them. So I'm not being positionally better than people when I say these things to our children. Let me be really, really clear on that. But we're Sigmunds. We do hard things because other people can't. There are weak people. There are people who are being harmed by other people. There are people who need help. And I want my family and my children to grow up with a mindset of serving not just our home, but our community and where we live. Okay? Simple, end of story. What do you want your family to be known as and to be known for? Make that a phrase or a saying that you begin saying with each other. Okay? We are the Smiths. We do these things. Or whatever. Okay? It's your home. It's a motto, it's a phrase, it's a creed, it's an edict, okay? Have your kids memorize it, have them be able to explain it to other people, and moms and dads, you should embody this. Your long-term identity and outcome that we talked about earlier, that can transcend into goals. I'm a big believer in goals. Goals help me a lot. They help other people. If you ever want me to go into goal setting and the principles of that, there's many different ways to set and make goals and then try to work them out. We can talk about that another time, but goal setting is good. Short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, okay? For example, it's like, well, I am 15 pounds too heavy, or man, I haven't deadlifted in a long time, and I'd love to get back to like my old deadlift weight and beat that in a certain matter. Those are goals. All right. I want to learn how to cook whatever. I want to learn how to do sourdough. I make sourdough. Dads, here's a dad call out. I think it'd be amazing if dads would make sourdough for their families because it's freaking cool. All right, goal setting. Think on it. Okay, we've talked about just the different systems that you can enact for your family. So coming back to this, if you're not a family who has habits and systems and rituals, pick one. Pick one for the week and do that. Think about it, talk about it, write it down, and practice it. Actually do it. And then add a new one in for the next week, and so on and so forth. Let it evolve, let it grow, let it adjust to life. Systems are evolving, and they should be, okay? Nothing needs to be completely necessarily set in stone except faith principles. We should have the rock of scripture that we lean on and learn from and adjust our lives to. Okay? Finalized thoughts. Families do not stumble into strength. Having systems makes it available and attainable. And when we do focus on these things, we create homes that our kids want to come back to, because a family home that has habits and practices and systems to keep the chaos in the world at bay becomes a home of peace. And we want our children to grow up in a home of peace and to perpetuate that for their future, to have homes that exemplify peace and goodness and growth and joy and love and happiness. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. I would really seriously love to hear from you. Leave me a note, reach out. You can email me, support@familyreadinessproject.com. You can engage with us on the website. You can engage with me on YouTube. However it happens, I'd love to hear from you, and I appreciate you very much. Let us be the change that our family desperately needs us to be. Let us raise the bar off the floor for families everywhere, starting with our own. God bless you. Talk to you soon.